I think a new administration has the potential to do a lot in terms of advancing causes like expanding healthcare access, taking serious stances on climate change, overseeing economic revitalization, and of course, handling this pandemic.
I see a lot of great things for this country. It's not going to be a smooth road. Trump has guaranteed that. But I think it will be a victory for decent Americans everywhere, and I hope it can guide us towards a political discourse that is not just vitriol and hate.
If Biden wins the election, I think there's potential for a lot of progress to be made. But at the same time, I do worry that people will stop pushing for systemic change because they think everything is all right now when there's still, issues that need to be addressed.
I don't necessarily think Biden will be revolutionary, but I think he'll put the United States in a stable situation where it's able to better address its more immediate threats, as well as put itself in a position where it's able to resume growth, a stabilization of the economy, a stabilization of its current health sector, and ideally, though it is a bit of a stretch, a bit of a stabilization of its race relations, though that takes a lot of effort outside of just one poor president. There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen bottom up.
I really think it's important that we have a leader that both Americans and global citizens trust, that other countries trust to lead the world to a better place on climate change and the pandemic, but that Americans trust too to have their economic, health, and safety interests at heart. And I think that Joe Biden is the leader that will lead the changes in a responsible and sustainable way. I'm aware that he won't be perfect at solving them, but he'll be trusted by most Americans to lead this country. And that's what's important right now.
If Donald Trump is reelected, I think we'll see a lot of protests, fear, anger. I think American credibility around the globe will continue to fall, and I think it will overall leave this country feeling much more unsettled, dangerous, and precarious.
If Trump is reelected, I have no hope for the future, period.
It will be rage, there will be anger, doubt, fear.
I think we're just going to continue with the status quo, hurting our alliances abroad, bad immigration policy, an economy that's probably going to crash in the next few years, etc.
I think that if Trump were to win the election, a lot of things that we see today would remain constant, such as the racial tensions and the lack of addressing climate change.
If Trump wins the election, I think it's going to be a very difficult 4 years for minority groups, and a lot of people will have to push for their rights to keep them safe.
On election day, there's not going to be a clear winner. I think obviously post-election with the mail-in ballots, there will be a clear winner, but I think that whoever loses is probably going to fight it in the courts and say that something happened with the mail-in process or like the recount process.
If Trump were to win early on Tuesday, November 3rd, if he were to be shown up in the polls or up in the results, I think he might try to claim victory, just because there's millions of mail-in ballots that haven't been counted and won't be counted until perhaps after Tuesday. But if the margin isn't that close, Trump might just try to call victory if he can, just from like the in-person voting that was done on this day.
Trump has been one, has shown that he's not one to concede, even if it's a clear loss in many people's eyes. And so I would expect Trump to contest the results, whether it's a narrow or wide margin.
I don't think that the losing candidate, i.e. Donald Trump, will accept the results. I don't know what's going to happen after that, but his ego is too big, and he's shown a clear disregard for any democratic norms. So no, Donald Trump will not accept the results.
And unfortunately, I think either outcome of the election will cause some sort of unrest within the opposite side, because everything's become so polarized nowadays.
Regardless of who wins, Trump or Biden, there's going to be civil unrest. Not that I want that to happen, but I genuinely think that because of the polarized nature of this country, people are going to be upset.
No matter how it's decided, people aren't going to be happy, and I think there's going to be a lot more divisiveness than there already is now after a concrete decision is made. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation, unfortunately.
Even though Trump is defeated, Trumpism won't be defeated, and it's deeply concerning to me that so many of my fellow Americans harbor hate in their hearts for just about anyone who doesn't look or talk like them. I don't know how we eliminate that. I don't know how we cure that. I think we just have to keep working to make sure that our representatives in government are, they believe in equality for all Americans, no matter race or creed.
Regardless, there is still so much at stake. Even if there wasn't a pandemic, I still think there would be so much at stake, like the character of this country. But because of the pandemic and because of the protests, I'm even more emboldened to speak out, and I'm very glad that I voted and I had my vote counted because I really want to see some change in this country.